many other people. And, I'm just happy to be out here. I kept the faith, and, I'm just having a great time.
Coach was saying that he talked to you right after the season. He was trying to tell you to wait in terms of making a decision, but you were had your mind made up. It seemed like, why were you in the place where you thought, I'm probably not going to play next year at that point in time?
I was very frustrated with the whole situation and what was going on. And, I've been back and forth to doctors, and I was going to MUSC. And the last visit with MUSC, the doctor recommended me to hang up football and to just rest. And, he didn't know how long it would be. He didn't know if it was going to be a couple months or if this was going to linger on even longer. So with that being said, I just kind of made the best decision for my health at the time. And just mentally, I wasn't in a good place. Kind of sat around a whole year, not knowing what's going on, struggling with my health. So it was just best for me to step away.
Yeah, when you talk about it being frustrating, what was the most frustrating part? Was it how you felt, or was it just not knowing, like in terms of when you were going to get better? Like what was most frustrating about it?
I'll say the most frustrating part is, you go to the doctor and, COVID was still new at the time, and, you go to the doctor and it's like, well, we don't really have anything at the moment. We got this going on, but we don't really know how to help you at the moment. That was the most frustrating part. And then, you feel good for a week. You're like, okay, I'm getting back to myself. And then like the next day, you're back at ground zero. And it was very frustrating. And it was just a part of the uncertainty. You didn't know what was going to happen, and every day was just like a roller coaster.
Yeah, how many stops and starts were there during the season? Were there times where you tried to, give it a go and see, like, am I healthy enough to get going, or did you, was you completely shut down, and then it was like, how do I feel after the season in terms of maybe going next season?
Throughout the whole season, I was more shut down. I was very limited. I didn't do much at all during the season. We tried to do things every day, but it was just kind of hit or miss. If it was an asthma attack the day before or whatever, we just kind of be cautious and, just protect myself.
Yeah, what was the worst part of it? Was it just having a hard time breathing, or kind of what were the symptoms that you were kind of dealing with?
The main thing I was dealing with was breathing. I was having a real bad allergic reaction, and just causing a lot of inflammation in the lungs, the throat area, and things like that. So I would say the main thing was the breathing that really affected everything.
Yeah. So when did you actually start getting better? When did you start feeling like I'm actually able to feel physically well enough to do this?
Ooh, let's see. I would say when I made the call to coach, I can't remember exactly when, but it was a little bit of, probably a couple months after I had left. I had called coach and just told him I was feeling better. I didn't know if I would be able to play at the time, but I knew I was feeling better and I was getting better each day. I wasn't having as many setbacks as I was. And the doctors at Duke recommended that I would go back and play, and they said, if I stuck to the program they put me on and taking my medicine, that, I would be able to play.
So what were you doing in the meantime? Had you found a job? Like, had you moved on with your life, or what types of stuff had you transitioned out of football yet, I guess, at that point?
I kind of was just hanging out. Went and worked with my dad for a little bit, and then from there, it was very hard to do regular, everyday activities. So my dad recommended us to get my health under control before I continue to figure out what was next in life.
So what were you doing with your dad?
My dad owns a trucking company, so I was just in the everyday of that. So just helping him with trucks, paperwork, and things like that.
Like fixing trucks, or like driving them around, or
yeah, mostly fixing and things like that, and just calling, dispatching, and things.
Okay, so you were on the dispatch, like telling trucks, like
yeah. So we just call and talk to our drivers, let them know where they're going, and then when trucks have problems, we'll go out and service them and things like that.
Okay, so what happened? Did you go to a doctor and they said like your breathing's fine, or like how did you get assured that like you were okay to make the call to Coach Sweeney to say, I can do this? I think.
I would say I really didn't. The doctor did tell me to go back and play, but my first visit at Duke, when I got done with the visit, that was the visit she told me to go back and play. And as soon as I walked out of the doors, Coach Sweeney called me. And that was kind of like a sign for me. He was just calling just to catch up. He didn't know I had a doctor's appointment. He didn't know anything about it, but he called and was like, how's everything going? Just checking on me. And for me, there was like a God wink, as Coach Sweeney calls it. And, right there, as soon as I walked out the door, he rung, and I was like, it was kind of crazy. And I didn't tell him then. I just thought about it for a little bit, and then I think probably 2 weeks later or so, I called him and let him know.
Yeah, what was the feeling when the doctor told you could play football? How much relief was that?
It was relief, but at the same time, I still wasn't feeling the best. I would probably say I was probably like 50, 60%. So it was still kind of rough of, if I really could. Mentally, I was feeling better, but it's still a whole mental part of getting over it. You're scared to go out there and run because you may have an asthma attack, or you may be short of breath because that's what you're used to. That's what I was used to for a whole year. So knew I was feeling better, but the mental part was still there at the back of my head.
So was it, what did she tell you? Was it that the inflammation in your lungs had gone down, or what had got to a certain point that allowed you to?
Breathing overall had got better. Inflammation had went down in my lungs, and I still had some other problems here and there. But she just kind of said, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you can do it. Nothing's going to be like life-threatening. At the end of the day, she's like, the most difficult part is going to be uncomfortable. Your chest is going to hurt. You're not going to feel good when you go home. But if this is really what you want to do, she's like, you're going to push yourself through it. And she was like, I have her number. She would call me all the time just to check in to make sure I was good. And we just kind of went from there. So if I had any problems, I'll let her know. She would adjust my medicine. And she just told me to keep on pushing myself.
What was the hardest part in terms of physically building yourself back up?
I would say just actually waking up, pushing myself every day, even when I was short of breath, I was wheezing, I didn't feel good. Just getting up and still trying to run, walk, do something. Some days it's just like I don't want to do this. Like I'm just gonna give up. And it's just the fact of waking up and knew I was getting better and just pushing myself each day.
Was there anybody in particular that helped push you, or was there a teammate or a coach or anybody that kind of when you were having those feelings of like I don't want to do this? What helped you get over that?
I would say my family. They were there the whole time just supporting me. One of my best friends, Michael Smith, he was there. He actually worked out with me every morning. He was kind of the guy that was like, hey, let's go to the gym, like even when I didn't want to go. And he just checked on me throughout the whole process.
Okay. I'm actually new here, so is Michael Smith just like another student? Or?
No, he's one of my good friends back home.
Back home? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Okay. So I guess it was lifelong friend, I guess.
Yes, lifelong friend.
Okay, so it sounds like. So what types of stuff would he tell you, like to help?
He would just make sure, when I was pushing myself in the gym that I was good. He was just there. Like most time I worked out 5:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he would just be there. And it was just having someone there. So if there was a problem, or when I was like, all right, I'm done for the day, like just one more set, let's do this, or just push through. Just someone there just pushing me.
Okay. When were you diagnosed with asthma?
From as a kid, so I've had it all my life.
So I guess how does that, your deal with COVID and having asthma, how has that just shaped, your perspective on, obviously there's a lot of controversy on vaccines and different things. How do you feel like that shaped your outlook on that?
At first with the vaccine, I was a little bit like, I don't want it, just kind of fresh out, and I'm not against it at all. It was just like, it was just new, and I'm just like, I'll let it work its course, and I'll get it eventually. So at first I was just kind of like, nah, I'm not going to get it. And then, as I went through my doctor appointments, it was recommended. I still wasn't really trying to feel it at all. I was like, I'm not going to get it. And then, one day I was like, it's best if I just go ahead and do this for myself, protect myself for, when I do get better. So, I'm not against it at all. It was just that it was just new at the time.
Last year, were you at any point trying to get yourself back to play football during the season? I know you were dressed on the sidelines and were part of the team, but is there any point of view that you hoped that you didn't have to sit out that whole year, or were you just not even worried about it at that point?
There were weeks where I felt really good, and I felt like I can go out there, but, we would go 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden I have an asthma attack. And most of the time when I did have a problem, it would set me back 3 or 4 days. So, work out 2 days or whatever, and then it's like, okay, he's down, he can't do anything. So I was very limited when I did have problems. Sometimes it wasn't even coming to team meetings or even coming here. I just stayed at home and just rested.
Talk about Michael. Was he like another football player though too, or was he? Did he play in high school with you? Was he football at all? Just like totally outside of sports?
Yeah, just totally outside of sports.
Is he your size, or is he like a smaller guy? Or?
He's a little bit shorter than I am, but good size.
Like lift the same amount of weight as you? Or?
Yeah, just.
Okay, so was he like spotting you on bench and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was there just a moment when you said, I can do it, I know I can? Was there just an eye-opening moment for you, or did it come in gradual spurts?
It came in gradual spurts. I'll probably say, actually, yesterday practice is probably the best I felt since I've been back. I've had ups and downs, but no matter what, just kept on pushing. But I would say, it just came in spurts, and I feel 100% now. I don't really have any problems. I'm not having to grab my hair every time, so I feel really good.
Where are you right now on the depth chart? What do you think you're sitting at, and how's the rotation there?
There's a lot of talented guys in the room, and we just rotate every play. And at the end of the day, two guys are going to run out there. So, I don't really pay attention to it. I let the coaches do their job. But, at the end of the day, we'll all play and we'll have a good time.
What side are you mostly playing on?
What side?
What side of the line?
I play either one, but I usually play on the left side.
the best you've ever seen this defensive line since you've been here? I mean, the most talent that you've seen?
I would say yes. I mean, it's very close to when Clee, Austin, Dexter, and them. I feel like we have more depth than them overall, but I think both teams were talented, but those are the closest ones to compare to, I believe.
What sets this line apart from maybe that line or other lines that you've been a part of?
I would just say the depth, and we can rotate guys, and there's no drop off.
Does that remind you a lot of that 18 line because you guys were so deep that year?
Oh yeah, I mean we were deep that year, but mostly Clee and Austin, and then play the end. But this year, we can rotate. X, me, KJ, Maskell, Miles. It's a whole bunch of them. You keep just rotating in and out.
You talk about not having to grab your hailer every time. I mean, when you get to the point where you're not anymore, I mean, does it kind of surprise you? You get through practice and you haven't, gone for it, or, I mean, do you notice that you're in a better shape? I guess how do you notice that?
I usually judge it off if I'm wheezing or not after practice. Usually, when I did start, when I first got back, after every workout, I would wheeze really bad, and then I had a hard time recovering. But now, I get done, I don't have to grab an inhaler. I get in, I'm not breathing, not wheezing or anything like that. I just feel good, and I can go through my normal activities without having any problems.
It's about like once a week now you grab it, or like once a month, or?
In the last couple of weeks, I haven't used it at all.
Okay. So I mean, how does that feel, just to be like in the shape you're in, to be able to play?
It feels good. I mean, I feel like I'm in the best shape I've been in since I've been here. I did gain a lot of weight when I left, and I've lost around, I've lost around 30 pounds, almost 30 pounds since I've been back. So I mean, I feel good. When in the off season I was running every day, outside of what we had to do that was mandatory. So I do feel like I'm in the best shape I've been in.
So what was the most you ever weighed?
I was 295.
Oh wow. Okay. So what did you do? Did you also, I know we talked to Xavier Thomas, like he changed his diet and all that type of stuff. Did you have to do things like that, or was it just working out and getting off?
For me, I couldn't really do much when I did have all my problems throughout the season. So, I do eat a lot, I mean, for my size. So I continue eating that way and not working out. So it kind of came on pretty quick. And then when I left football, I wasn't really working out like I usually were. So the weight just came on. But for me, getting it off, it was just, getting back in the routine of things, running twice a day, just eating better and just taking out the junk foods. Not really, I guess, a strict diet, but just taking out the things that, aren't good for you in general.
Who's your guy that it affected? And you had a tough time with it, and now you've recovered. Do you feel like people have come to you to ask questions that, you're almost a testimony to what it's like to battle COVID and kind of come back from it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have reached out and asked me. I was actually talking to someone on Instagram today that messaged me that was an athlete. They're just battling, they got COVID and they're just trying to get back in the routine of things. And a lot of people have, and I just gave them my, my little spiel of what I went through. I went through a lot of doctor's appointments, but at the end of the day, the main thing was time. Every doctor told me there was going to be time, they gave me inhalers and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think the overall that helped me was just time and being patient, but also starting to push myself. The first beginning of it, I just sat around, didn't do anything. But I feel like if you fight against it, you take, if it's just walking every day, because that's how I started. I started to walk every day, and then went from like a walk jog to then a regular jog, and then back to sprints. And that's just kind of how I went with it, and it was tough, but there has been a lot of people reaching out, just asking me, is there something special that went on? And then I do believe when I did get the vaccine, it did help out. I did get the vaccine, and I'll probably say in 3 weeks or so after. I didn't feel good when I got it, but 3 weeks after, I started feeling really good. So.
Talk about starting with walks. I mean, what was the farthest you could go walking-wise before you got exhausted?
I would start off, and it would just be like a mile, and I would be exhausted. And then from there, start working up where you go from a mile, 2 miles, and then at the most I would do is like 5 miles. And then, from there I started to try to get into more of a football, not long distance, but more short bursts and things like that, and just seeing how I react it.
So was that when you were working with your dad to try to place, or was that during the season? Would be the worst in terms of only doing a mile? What would that have been?
That was after I left. During the season, I just did the regular workouts that we would do here, and I just did as much as I could, and just kind of went from there.
So where did you walk a mile? Was it around the neighborhood, or was it did you go to somewhere, go for a hike or something, or where did you walk?
I would usually walk in the neighborhood, or I would go to the gym, the YMCA.
Okay, just go around there, track. Okay.
Being that Xavier also had COVID, proper symptomatic, is that something that you guys have kind of talked about? And just kind of maybe help one another through some of those things?
We talked about it a little bit, but not too much. You know, he kind of stays to himself, and I stay to myself. But at the end of the day, you know, my situation was a little bit different. You know, he was battling stuff too, but he was able to work back in the season. He recovered a little bit quicker than I did. So, and mine just lingered on a little bit longer.
Being around this facility, coming back and helping with the construction, being a part of that, did that kind of get that desire back for football, just kind of being around everybody, getting back in the door?
Yes, I would say, you know, I did leave here, and I did not want to be around football. I didn't want to be in Clemson. I didn't want to be around anything, just because of the situation I was going through and how I felt. And then I would say it was a big relief when I came back in the building, and then getting the opportunity to work the internship with Jay Davis, and just being here. You know, I was here in the off season in the summer every day, pretty much from 8 to 8 every day. So I mean, it was good. I mean, just being around everybody, talking to everybody, and just kind of catching up. It was really good, and I think it helped me out throughout everything.
What do you think it's going to be like when you step on the field on September 4th and kind of get back to that action, just that feel of football?
It's gonna be a big relief. You know, I've worked ever since I was a kid, you know, playing football, and just with it being taken away so fast, and then having an opportunity to come back and play, it's just big. It means a lot to me, and you know, you really don't know how much something means to you until it's taken away. And you know, I'm having fun. I'm really enjoying it.
Was there a day here when it kind of hit you and you were like, all right, I'm ready to go. This is what I want. Was there any particular moment, or anything that happened that made you say, yeah, this is I want this again?
I'll probably say the first day we put on pads. I hadn't hit anyone in a long time, and just that feeling of hitting someone, and just playing ball, right? And we got our pads on first day of contact, and we're doing W drill and things like that, and that was just a big relief, and just the fact that I could do it, and that just let me know that I really wanted to be out there, and I really want to do this.
Talk about how frustrated you were. I mean, you didn't even want to be here. I mean, were you like just trying not to think about football or any of that, or was it hard not to think about like what you couldn't do at that point in time?
At the end of the day, football was here. I couldn't really do much about it, but when I came to the building, I didn't think about any football. For me, it was more of how am I going to get healthy, how I'm going to handle this, and I took my mind away from football and was like, okay, what's next in life? If football's taken away, just start working on plans and things that I want to do, because one day football's going to end, and it could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now, but always got to have a plan. So when I was coming here and going through all that, it was more of not focused on football, but just focused on getting healthy, because if I wasn't healthy, I couldn't play anyway.
Yeah, I mean, do you think you have more of an appreciation for football?
Yes. I appreciate it a lot more. I mean, you come in here every day, and it's just like sometimes people get caught up going into emotions, and you don't really think about it. But when it's taken away from you, like I sit and reflect a lot on just everything that my whole from elementary, middle school, high school to college, just the whole thing. And I was very upset because it was taken away. So I mean, to be back, I really appreciate everything and the opportunity Coach Sweeney gave me to come back.
Those people at Crest, speaking of high school, they're like a big extended family. From Holly Robinson on down. Do you feel like they were a big part of kind of helping you get back to this point too?
Yeah, they were always texting me, just checking in to see how I was and what was going on. They didn't really bug me. They just checked in every once in a while, and they really helped out. And it's just having that support. I mean, when you go home, or you're down here, just texting someone back home just to let you know, outside your family.
Sure. And
it's just great to have them and come in the game and come down and see me and Landon and stuff.
Talk about Xavier's talked about wants to use this season to go to the NFL. I mean, you were talking about football, you didn't know if you could play it at all. I mean, do you have like hopes still of continuing football after this, or is it kind of like you said, you thought about there's gonna be something after this and you'll get there when you get there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think about that at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, I played all my life, and that's the goal in the end, to make it to the league. And if I get the opportunity, I will take it. And that's kind of how I look at it. I'm just going to bust my tail every day, and if the opportunity presents itself, I'll take it and do the best I can.
What would you like to show scouts specifically this year?
I would just like to show that I can do it. I mean, I guess there's been a lot of question if he actually can come back and play, and if he can do it. Can he work through it with all of my medical stuff, and just show him that I'm back and I can do. I'm going to be better than I was.
Thanks, Justin.